Welcome to APCUG's Saturday Safari, where we take adventures deep into the technology jungle, searching for rewards and answers to our tech questions. We are very close to that big famous day after Thanksgiving, Black Friday, and all of the sales. And of course, everybody who wants to beat the Black Friday sales might start on Wednesday or Tuesday or whatever. And one of the things that's going to be probably on many people's list might be a new computer or laptop. And so today we've asked our friend and many-time presenter Rob Truman to do a presentation on purchasing a new computer, whether it be a desktop or a laptop. We want to welcome Rob, who is in Florida right now, and ask him to share with us what are your tips for purchasing new technology. Need to unmute, please.
I appreciate the offer and the invitation, and I'm not going to waste too much time. The goal here is to help you do better when you go shopping. Okay. So let's get down to it. Now, before I get started, this presentation is going to be focused more on laptops than anything else. But 99.9% of the information that I'm going to put out is going to be applicable to about anything you're looking at, whether it's a smartphone, a desktop, whatever the case may be. Little information about myself. Been doing this for quite a while. At the bottom, there's my email address and my website that you're more than welcome to visit, check out. There's, last time I checked, probably over 1,000 different articles on a variety of technical issues. So, shopping for a new computer. And this is the best time. Probably from today all the way through the new year, there's going to be nothing but sales on. So we're going to address how to shift through this, some acronyms, storage options, and what features and some tools that you can use to pick what's going to work best for you. So first thing you need to do, define your use case scenario. What are you going to be using it for? You're going to run applications, or will most of your use be via the internet and web-based apps? Are you going to be editing and creating video? You're going to be doing video chat, and define what your security concerns are, because all those are going to take into be pretty important when you start shopping. So first of all, let's look at desktops. They range probably $300 to $1,500. They're reliable. They're usually less expensive than laptops, but they're also much less portable. I think we all know one of the main things about desktops is, one, they're easy to repair, they're easy to upgrade, change out internal components, and you could extend the life of the desktop by several years compared to, say, a laptop. When we come to laptops, surprisingly, very close in price range, but in the real pros, I think, over a laptop are they're just lighter, more portable than a desktop. Everything is built in. Some of the downsides, though, is battery life. They are generally more expensive when you start comparing what you're getting as far as capabilities. Usually have a smaller screen, fewer external ports, which we're going to talk about further as we get through this. Tablets, iPads, Android tablets, they're extremely light. They usually include a webcam, touch interface, and you install apps through either the Google Play Store, Windows Store, or Apple's App Store. They do have traditionally smaller screens, much fewer external ports. No physical keyboard generally is included, but that doesn't mean you can't use an external keyboard with them. Typically use iOS or Android operating systems. So they cannot natively run any type of Windows applications. Chromebook. I added this as kind of an afterthought, and I'm just going to touch on it lightly. They're extremely inexpensive devices. The downside of Chromebooks, very small onboard storage. They're designed to use cloud storage. They're designed to primarily run everything off the internet. Think of a Chromebook as nothing more than a mobile phone with a big screen. So here's the step. Pick your OS, then pick your processor. Decide how much RAM you're looking for. Decide what kind of storage space you need. And when I say that, I'm talking about, am I going to store everything on a hard drive, or am I going to be using cloud storage? Decide what ports and how many of them I'm going to need. And of course, I look at other things like webcams and other types of worries. So there's 4 primary operating systems out there, and you need to pick one. A big thing, think through what software you need to run and which operating system runs will help you determine the hardware you need. As I said, there's 4 major operating systems. Each has its own strengths and weaknesses. First step, processors. Okay. And there are, for all intents and purposes, only 2 companies that make the majority of processors that you will find in most computers on the market today. And that's Intel and AMD. Now, Apple also makes their own processor chips for their line of computers and tablets. So, which one to buy? It used to be that AMD was thought of the stepchild of Intel, but anymore, AMD is an actual very reasonable choice to make, and they make some excellent processors, and they all, surprisingly, they're kind of named the same as Intel's, or maybe not so surprising. So when I'm looking at a processor, this is kind of what I'm going to see when it comes to the processor's model number. And the numbers that I'm looking at are, for instance, i7, then the actual general indicator, and you'll notice this one has a 13. So that's the 13th generation. Then I have the actual SKU number, and then I have a product suffix. And keep this in the kind of the back of your mind. So here's your first website. and that's cpubenchmark.net. And this website makes specs on not only CPUs, but they also do graphics chips, you name it. They document just about everything on the market today. As it says here, they test over 1 million systems, 3,100 different CPU models, and it's updated daily. So what I did, when I bought my current laptop, here's the information that I looked at on deciding on this laptop. Okay, so this CPU is an Intel Core i7 13th generation 620H. And if I look here on the right, its overall rankings, it is the 62nd fastest and out of 1,431 laptop CPUs. Last price range is it was $502. So, and then on the left-hand side, you can kind of see some other specs that might be of interest to you. And the only reason I'm showing you this, and I will kind of pull all this together as we wrap this up today, is that you go down and you identify 2 or 3 different systems that you're interested in. This is a good way to compare them, okay? Because all CPUs are not created equally. And in my opinion, the stuff that you're going to find on Black Friday that is the biggest markdown may not be the best deal. How much RAM do I need? General rule of thumb, the more the merrier. RAM is what your laptop uses to hold data while it's being processed. You can think of it as your desk. If your desk is too small, things fall off and you can't work on it. Here's a little bit of a guide. If all you're looking at is internet browsing, email, listening to music, 8 gigabytes is probably adequate. I wouldn't recommend it, but it'll probably work for you. Somewhere in the middle, you're going to run some word processing documents, spreadsheets, graphics. 16 gig is probably a good target. Now, you start looking at gamers, graphic designers, and you want to get up into the 32, possibly even the 64 gigabyte range. Now, Chrome OS, and the reason it's standing out there long is that Chrome OS, because it's such a lightweight system, 4 gigabytes. And that's pretty much standard on a lot of Chromebooks. Now, you can get Chromebooks with 8, and I think I've even seen Chromebooks out there with 16, but you know, they're pretty 4 gigabytes pretty common. So, hard drive. So again, this is nothing more than your filing box or your filing cabinet. Most computers you're going to buy today is going to come with an SSD or a solid state drive. You're going to find some budget laptops still using hardware drives, or i.e. spinning drives. I would avoid those. One, SSDs are just faster. Okay, they're not required on a mechanical interface. How much storage? Again, this becomes a personal choice. I can't tell you. I think you're going to be hard pressed on a laptop or even a desktop to find anything less than a terabyte anymore. It's just storage space is extremely cheap, and you're probably going to be looking. Most of your systems are probably going to either come with 512 or a terabyte. Next thing is you need to decide what ports you're going to need. And I've already crossed out 2 of them because you're probably not going to need a VGA or a DVI, which are both video ports. HDMI is the standard anymore, and USB-C. And ports are nothing more than various ways to plug in peripherals with your cables. And you're going to want at least 1 or more USB-Cs and probably only 1 or more USB-As. And then, of course, microphone and headset jacks. You're going to probably find that there's only 1, and then the operating system will recognize whatever you plug in. And you also may find that those are actual USB-C connections today. So I'm getting a laptop and I just don't have enough ports. What do I do? And you can look at a docking station. Docking stations run from, I guess, 25, and I've seen them as high as 400, just depending on what their capabilities are. So, and what they do is they just give you more ports and they extend the capabilities of your laptop. For instance, this one on the right, you can hook up 3 monitors to that docking station. And essentially, you can take your laptop and turn it into a desktop configuration. Also want to check on webcams and what type of hinges. I don't think you're going to find a laptop that probably doesn't have a webcam in today's merchandise. They're out there, but most of them are going to come with a webcam. Even hinges are hard to test, but do you want one that's going to be a 360-degree hinge or 180? And it's just, kind of use case scenario here. Two-in-one laptops. They blend a traditional laptop with a tablet. A lot of these are going to come with 360 hinges to where you can just fold the keyboard back and then use the actual screen as a tablet, and which is, touch based. Or you're going to have the ones like this one pictured, which is a Microsoft Surface, to where the keyboard is detachable. So when do I replace my current hardware? You're running out of space. Your computer is really slow and you've tried everything and, it's just, this is the way it is. And it's as good as it's going to ever get. You can no longer upgrade your OS or run new software. Your computer is making weird noises. Yeah, that's a really good sign. It would cost you more to upgrade or fix your computer than to replace it. I generally do not, unless you have a typical tower computer, I generally do not recommend you replacing or repairing laptops, only because you have a 5-year-old laptop, you take it in, it's going to cost you $200 or $300 for the repairs. So you've invested $7. For $7, you can buy a new laptop. So what I have here is on the right is a typical Amazon ad for a computer. And we've gone over just probably 90% of all these specs. And you got the model name, you got the screen size. Keep in mind on screen size. If weight is a concern for you, then smaller screen sizes are going to weigh less. Has the hard disk size of 1 terabyte. It's a i7 processor. If you go down into the description, you can actually probably find out what the processor is. Actually, it's up there in the top. It's an i7-1255U processor. Talks a little bit about the keyboard and the graphics card, which is integrated, as in most laptops. So it's kind of nice when you're shopping for a new machine to know what you currently have. So in Windows 10 or 11, you can press the Windows key and the R key together. And in the run box, you type in MS-Info32 and press enter. Or you can go down into the search box, start typing system, and you will come up with a return called system information. It will take you to the same place. And this will give you everything, all the specs of your current machine. This is a screenshot of mine. And it shows the kind of processor I have. It's a 13th generation i7 1362 or 620H, 24 megahertz processor speed, and has 10 cores. And if I kept scrolling down here, it would tell me that I have 16 gigabytes of installed RAM. And it will tell me the size of my hard drive. If you have a Mac and you want to see this, you can go on to the Apple menu and click About This Mac. It will give you the same type of information. Again, best time, Black Friday through the end of the year. I would just preface this with, be careful. Do your research on what you're buying on Black Friday. They don't mark down their best machines to 50% for no reason. So do your research, take a look at your processors and what you're getting, and be sure that it's, you're going to be happy with it. Here's some resources, and these are just buying guides. Best Buy has one, Amazon has one. There's one for Consumer Reports, and they kind of walk you through asking what your likes and dislikes are and to suggest certain models. And I would take these with a grain of salt, okay? Because there's a reason that companies are being utilized by these different buying guides. In other words, do your research, So we are done with the presentation. I'm going to stop this. And I'll address any questions that we have for what time we have remaining.
Yeah. I'm going to throw one out while Judy's getting ready. Do you recommend that I should right now start looking at what's out there and get a price of what it's going to cost now to compare it to what when it goes on sale to find out if it's a real sale?
Oh, I without a doubt. I mean, the price that I showed you on that, I believe that was an Asus, or it might have been a Lenovo, that's a non-Black Friday price, And so where I would start is I would see what I currently have, okay? Then kind of get an idea of what I want. And whether that's an i7 or an I also, let me throw this out there. I do not recommend buying anything less than an i5 processor or an AMD Ryzen 5. Okay, i3s and Ryzen 3s are budget processors, and you're going to find most of those in abundance at Walmart, Target, and the big box stores. And I want to pretty much guarantee you that within a month or two, you're not going to be happy with it.
I would agree.
Me too. I have a comment. Snapdragon is also making processors for Microsoft and others. Do you consider them on a par with Intel and my preferred one?
Snapdragon, as far as I'm aware, and I could be wrong or out of date on this, you find them more in mobile devices than you do in, say, laptops or desktops. Tend to find those a lot more in, and mostly, say, I would say Android, and you may even find some upper end Chromebooks that are utilizing the Snapdragon process. I said I could be wrong, and so if I am wrong and you want to correct me, by all means, take your best shot.
Okay. With a Mac Mini M4 Silicon chip, how much RAM would you recommend?
I know very little about Macs. Again, when it comes to RAM, my recommendation, buy as much as you can afford. Okay. It just, because the difference between, so let's say whether it's a Mac or not, the difference in the price is going to be, I think, minimal buying that device with 16 compared to 32. Okay. So, I mean, get us, because the more RAM you have, one, it's just going to work smoother for you and it's going to be more responsive, and no matter what it is you're trying to do. Now, of course, you always reach that level of saturation. At some point, depending on your usage, it just doesn't perform any better than the more RAM you stick in. So to me, 16 is the sweet spot right now, or 32.
I recommend 32. I've moved up to 32 and I really notice a difference. And I'm babying a 2020 HP Tower that has a terabyte SSD, and everything else is perfectly all right. It's too small for me, so I'm getting a 2 terabyte, and I upped it to 32, and wow, I wish I had done it when I upped it to 16. When I went to Best Buy to do that, I said, now what's after 16? And this kid looked at me with horror on his face. He goes, 32, you're not a gamer, are you? And all I could think is his head, oh my God, there's this little old lady here with white hair. And does she play games? And I said, no, I was just asking. And at that time, I wish I had said, I will take the 32 instead of the 16, because now I have all this memory hanging around the house. But anyway, Bill James has a question.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you would have asked me what comes after 16, I would have said 17.
Oh, stop it. 16, 17, thank you.
Well, Judy, what I was going to comment on the Snapdragon processors are being promoted for the new AI computers.
Right.
And so I was going to ask Rob what his opinion on the AI ones, because there seem to be dedicated boxes for the purposes of utilizing AI. But that's what the Snapdragon ones are being developed for.
Bill, to me, that's the perfect, my attitude when it comes to AI is it's the perfect reason to run Linux and not have to deal with AI.
Okay.
All right.
I will take that as a no.
And who makes the Snapdragon?
That's the name of the company.
Oh,
It is.
Well,
I've seen Snapdragons more associated with mobile devices, and I'm not following AI technology for a reason, only because it's such a moving target right now. And so, yeah, that may be a very valid point.
yeah, all the Microsoft boxes and some of the Asus boxes, or the latest ones, the laptops are being equipped with Snapdragon processors.
So they're literally the new kid on the block, like AMD used to be the new kid on the block.
I would say that would be correct.
Okay, very good. Joel Sandberg, you have a question. Unmute yourself, please.
Unmute
Thank
to
you.
that. Simple, can you help us get a copy of the last slide, the 3 recommended guides for sorting? I was not able to copy it down.
Okay,
Oh, no.
he will show that last slide, and then everybody needs to press their Windows key and tap the print screen, and you will get a graphic in your screenshot folder that is under pictures.
Well, what
Thank
I can do is I can send you, or I can send Judy a PDF of all the slides.
Yeah.
Or you can also look at the video and just pause the video that they're going from this presentation, if that works.
I will send you guys the PDF post haste. We all know what happens with the videos. They go into video hell at my house. And considering I just moved and can't find anything.
I'll send those to you later today, Judy.
Okay, thank you, Rob. After you do, Rob's doing the same presentation right after this for the Prescott Computer Society. So don't leave anything out. Don't think, oh, well, I already said that. Just do your whole thing. Anyway, David, your question.
Unmute. Yeah, my wife needs a very basic laptop. All she does is internet and play some games. The problem is that the laptop she has seems to be kind of funny about the way it wants to be turned on and shut off. And my wife keeps forgetting it, and I have to go and reset it every time. Is there any particular low-end laptops that are much easier to use than others?
Yeah, I would suggest you maybe do some research on Chromebooks. You know, if all you're doing is games and internet, that's what they're designed for. You know, I mean, there's not a lot of maintenance to them. They're essentially a Google laptop, and Google keeps that operating system updated. And they're let's say they're made for kids. Okay. I'm not suggesting your wife is a kid. I'm just saying, take it for whatever it's worth.
Thank you.
And David,
yes,
you know, back in the day when you worked, there were all those wonderful Post-its out there. I suggest you put the steps for my handouts have arrived. Thank you. Oh, cool. Yes, I do. Sorry about that. That's my kid.
I found your scarecrows.
Oh, good. Thank you. Anyway, write at the steps 1, 2, 3, 4. Either type them out and cut it out and stick it on with Scotch tape and just have it there for her. And after a while, her muscle memory will remember what to do.
I have notes.
No, I don't want notes. I just want step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. That's simple.
Thank you.
And your best preschool printing.
Yes.
Okay, and I'm serious.
Yeah.
That's what I would have my students do. So they just, like I said, and then this will kick in and boom.
Thank you.
Ray Baxter, gone.
David, put a sticker on your forehead asking, did you turn your computer off today?
Oh, you can engrave it, you know, with a magic marker on the top of your head there too. That would look nice. Ray.
Rob, I always enjoy your presentations. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I want to make the point, though, over the years, I've seen so many folks with laptops in their home that never move from where they put them. They're constantly plugged in all the time. They never take them out. And I always say to them, think about what you're going to use that computer for. And if it's going to be stationary, consider, instead of a laptop, a desktop where you can have multiple monitors and all the connections you need, et cetera. Do you agree with that?
Well, yeah, by all means. In fact, I I quit buying tower desktops, and what I tend to buy today and they're called mini PCs.
I have one.
About the size of an Apple M4, and you can get them whether Windows, Apple, and they're just a nice small footprint, low power device.
Exactly. And if they come with USB-C, then that offers even more opportunities.
You're right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And David, I have another tip. Is her laptop on a stand or something that brings the monitor up to, she's looking straight ahead on it? And if it isn't, I had mine on a printer stand and then a Logitech wireless keyboard and mouse, and it's looking straight ahead at it, and you have the full-size keyboard, so she's not mucking around with the little keys on a laptop. Okay, so those are my other tips. Derek, you're on. Hello. Derek is on. There you go.
This is Derek. You asked about the Snapdragon. That's made by Qualcomm.
That's right.
That's correct.
That's what I thought.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. John Kennedy, you're at the end of the line, but you're at the top of my thing over here.
Now Jerry Crow's ahead of me.
Okay, I was going to call on him, but I thought you might say, no, Jerry Crow from Tucson.
The preceding, I was going to mention that the Snapdragons are made by Qualcomm. The other thing I wanted to say is historically, I've had all kinds of different computers. I've been doing this since the 90s, and it's still true, I believe, today. All other things being equal, the single thing you can do to put more power into your computer is to increase the amount of memory in the computer. And that's the cheapest way to get, and as you said, Judy, you put your memory up, you change something else, and got solid state driving. And I'm a little harsher than that. By the way, Rob, that was a great presentation. But I would say two things. I would recommend nobody ever buy a rotating storage drive anymore.
Yes.
Only solid state.
No.
Yeah. And you said you don't recommend it. I'd say just don't. The other thing, I wouldn't even recommend an i5. The only reason I don't have an i9 machine is because I don't have a desktop and I have a laptop, and it's next to impossible to replace the processor in a laptop. And secondly, go ahead.
No, I would take that one step further. The same way it's most laptops today. You can't hardly replace the RAM without cracking open the case.
That's
which
true.
If you're not careful doing that, you're going to crack the case, or if you don't have the appropriate tools. So, but you're right. I mean, I wouldn't buy to me, the rotating hard drives are just gone, and you're going to see SSDs. And when you buy something, buy as much RAM as you can get in it, with the exception of desktops, where you can actually get in there and upgrade them.
Yeah, and of course, if you have an option, usually if you buy a laptop, it'll be one way or the other.
Right.
Be sure to get NVMe too, SSDs, and not a standard 3-inch SSD. The NVMe is even faster. So I've got I've got more space than I'll ever need, but I've got a 2 terabyte NVMe in my laptop, which is
I bought a 2 terabyte M.2 that I put a case in and use it as external storage.
Yep.
Roy Robinson, your question.
Yes, hello. Thank you for the presentation. I'm running Windows 10 on a desktop that won't run Windows 11 for the normal reasons. And I'm debating, do I want to upgrade it at the end of this year or wait for the inevitable sales that are going to come out next summer when everybody else has got to upgrade to Windows 11? Your thoughts on that process?
All right. I like Windows 11, okay, only because I'm used to using it now. So, but I just recently read an article that I guess for a low nominal fee, Microsoft will give you support for Windows 10 for another year. To me, I think it depends on your hardware. Okay, so is there
No,
another reason that you would?
I think you missed my question.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm going to upgrade to a Windows 11 machine. Okay.
Okay,
The question is, should I buy one the end of this year? Or if next November, when I have to buy one, I got to believe there's going to be inevitable sales because everybody else and their uncle are going to have to upgrade to Windows 11 next summer. Is there any reason to wait till next year, or does it make any difference?
no, I don't think so. I mean, in other words, I don't think there's any. I can't foresee any distinct advantage one way or the other.
Okay, thank you.
Just when you want to take the leap. Kurt,
How about never?
me too, but we have to do it.
Some comments if I can find them. If you've got a user that does not have demanding requirements, okay, somebody mentioned it for buying a Chromebook or something like that for their spouse. Consider a tablet.
Yeah,
Yeah, I bought a Samsung Tab A9 during Prime days for, I think it was about $150, and then put it in a case that has a Bluetooth keyboard on it. And that's a real nice machine if you're just doing email or playing games that can run on Android. Okay. With regard to the amount of memory, you are going to see a big improvement if you do something like going from 4 to 8 gigabytes of memory. You are not going to see that gain when you go from 8 to 16. There are some cutoff points, and about 4 is common. If you have less than that, there's going to be a lot of I/O going on to support what you're doing, and adding RAM will give you a big payback, but you will not see the same kind of improvements if you're going from 8 to 16 or 16 to 32. They're just not going to happen. And a lot of people are kicking spinning hard drives. And I would tell you that for most uses and smaller hard drives, that solid state is the way to go. But I just bought a spinning hard drive. It hadn't been installed yet. It's 8 terabytes. And it was affordable. An 8 terabyte solid state drive, okay, would not be for my application. So there is still a place for spinning drives.
well, I agree with you, Kurt. But I would say for most people in their personal use, if they're looking to change machines, you're going to find SSDs out there.
Yeah.
And it's not that they're bad. To me, the primary difference is SSDs are more expensive, but they generate less heat, and heat's not a good thing.
I agree. In fact, the machine that the big drive's going in right now has several two terabyte sticks in it.
Yeah,
and it's going to get some more.
Wow.
It's being built up, but
okay, you may not talk about that ever again in my presence because it's too cool. Like if you have 2 monitors, I'm envious too.
you only have one?
Oh, I don't have room for two, okay? And you guys with your SSDs, don't forget they can also die.
I do.
Because my 1 terabyte little darling is, and one of the things is they will turn themselves off and turn themselves back on again. And that's kind of the status I'm at right now. I don't do hardware, so I have to find somebody to put the 2 terabyte in for me. But that's one of the things, and it's only 4 years old, which seems to be it shouldn't be doing that.
No, SSDs are rated for how many times they're basically write and read.
Yep. And
okay. So if you're the type of person that likes running defrag, quit it.
No, never did.
No, you don't defrag, but that's me. I'm a document person, and I had to offload it to our shared drive because it took hours to do it because it was almost full and I kept getting the red line.
Well, I look at buying an SSD as who's going to die first, it or me.
Okay. Thank you. Ron.
Judy, about two monitors. Consider a dual monitor mount. I went to two monitors a long time ago.
I know.
And I don't say that to brag. Let me continue.
I know.
I knew that I was going to like it. I had no idea how much I was going to like it. It is such a phenomenal performance improver. In what you can get done. And just, it's the way to go.
I know, but I literally don't have room on my glass and wrought iron desk here for it.
All you need on the desk is room for the middle of the stand.
You know, so I could hang it or,
wall mount it.
Printer, whatever. Yeah. Jack or Ron, you're on, and then John.
Okay. A while back when I was buying, I was told that the i7 primarily had an advantage in terms of multitasking, multi-threading. If you weren't going to use that application or in your applications, perhaps the i5 was sufficient for your needs. Has anything changed in that regard?
I'm just going to do a real quick. I built a computer about 3 years ago. Now, I went up on the benchmark site and I put an i5 in there that, based on the specs of that processor, was outperforming low-end i7s. Okay, so I wouldn't focus so much on whether it's an i5, i7, i9. Do the research, look at the specs, and it will tell you a lot about what kind of performance that you can expect from that processor. And that's why when, if you're looking at, say, you're going to buy a new machine, you go up on Amazon, well, here's 3 of them that I like, do the research on them, and see which one is really a good deal or going to suit your needs.
So really nothing has changed as far as that?
No.
Okay.
No, the primary thing is get one that fits your use case scenario.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
John.
Asking for comments from Rob with regards to new laptops, questions that I have gotten from people, passing on to you. What about the issue of no DVD drives and no Ethernet ports?
Right. Well, first of all, you can buy a dock, that will plug into a USB-C that has an Ethernet port, and it will work just fine. If you really want a DVD drive, then buy a portable DVD drive that plugs in. But the thing is that manufacturers are going towards thin and lightweight, which is why on some of the lower end or budget laptops, they don't even have a battery. The battery is literally soldered to the motherboard. non-replaceable. So I mean, to me, it always comes back to you get what you're going to get what you pay for, and take a look at the components.
Yeah. And a comment about the batteries, I learned too that there were some laptops that if the battery goes bad, you can't even use the electrical plug-in to run that computer or that laptop.
Well, it used to be you could just take the battery out, plug it into the wall, and get another 2 years out of it.
How about 4 years?
All right, those days are gone.
Yeah.
Richard Jackson, unmute yourself, please.
Yes. Just a quick question. Because this is an excellent presentation. Are we going to get a link to the recording and
Sometime.
the PowerPoint slides?
Yes to both.
Yep.
How soon? The slideshow soon, video later.
Okay, but we will get an email with the link in it?
Eventually, yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
We're going to let Judy get some sleep first, man.
Yeah. Bill James.
I was just going to say, John, to answer your question, I guess I'm in that boat, but I've gone to laptops exclusively. I don't use my desktop hardly at all. And the desktop I do have is really an all-in-one. So it's basically just a bigger laptop. But these are all thin. They do not have replaceable batteries. They do not even have the capability of increasing the storage or memory because they're sealed. So as Rob has pointed out, if you're going to buy a laptop, you probably want to buy the one that has the most memory. I have them from an i5 to i7s, but it's been my experience that unless you're doing some really intensive graphics, that you may be in some cases wasting your money with buying additional memory or a bigger processor. So as Rob is saying, that you need to really do your homework as what you're using the computer for. If you're just an internet person doing email, some occasional word processing, then you really don't need to buy an i9 with 32 gigs of memory. In my opinion, that would be a waste. So what I would, if I was in that situation, I think I would, depends on how I was going to store my documents. If you're a cloud user, then you don't really need to expend a lot of money on buying a large storage. You can live with a 256 SSD if you're going to be doing cloud storage. But if you're going to be storing stuff on your hard drive, then you need to buy one that has a 1 or 2 terabyte SSD. So you just have to kind of think of all those scenarios that you're using your computer for when you make your purchase.
Let me add to what Bill's saying there. So here's kind of my scenario. You're going on and you're going to buy something off Amazon or Best Buy's website, or you're looking, that's where you're starting to look. You got 3 laptops identified or 3 desktops identified. They're all about the same price range. They all have the same amount of RAM in it. That's when you want to go in and start looking at your benchmarks on your processors, and because that's going to be primarily one of your most telling indicators, help you narrow it down to the final item that you're going to end up buying.
Would agree. In other words, if buy the best bang for your buck. If you got
Exactly.
certain items, then buy the better of those 2 or 3 that you're looking at. But if you're looking at in terms of what you're going to use the machine for, you need to also take a look at that as well.
Yep.
Gary.
Yes, hi. I've got a question about upgrading to Windows 11. My current tower doesn't have the hardware ability to upgrade to 11. So my question is, why can't I just take out that hard drive, put it into a new PC that has the hardware now built into it that should be able to upgrade to 11, and then upgrade to 11 in that new tower?
It
Is that not
may or may
possible?
not work, not necessarily. Okay, because when a hard drive gets formatted, there is information that is machine specific. Okay, now it's not saying that you can't take that hard drive out of your old machine and transfer, say, your documents, photos, music, pictures, whatever,
Yeah.
over to the new one. All right. I mean, it can be, I've seen it done, I've seen it work, but that's usually the exception to the rule.
Well, my concern is that I've got so many programs, I will never be able to reinstall them and get them all working the
Well,
same way with passwords and stuff like that. Why can't I clone it to the new hard drive? No, I'm trying to avoid that
I understand. I
horrendous
understand
process.
I understand your dilemma. By all means, I would try two things. Swap out the hard drive, see if it works. Okay, you got nothing to lose by doing that. Other one is clone the hard drive or do a complete full system backup and see if you can restore it to the new one. Again, but you don't want to do a system backup because that's a Windows 10 system. Okay, unfortunately, the way most apps are written today, they're just not movable. Okay, because in the old days, when you installed an application, it put everything from that application into one folder. That no longer happens anymore. Okay, because there's pieces of that program all over that Windows system. So, I mean, I hate to be the bearer of bad information, but all you can do is try. So by all means, give it a shot.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't,
Yeah.
Gary.
It really has to do with what kind of phase the moon's in, and
yeah.
I've done it with some degree of success, but it's no guarantee. It's really a crapshoot.
I did it with this laptop, and it worked. But I was surprised that it worked.
It seems like it should work because all you're missing is the internals of the new desktop. And if you're just sliding in a new hard drive and it says, "Oh, now I can upgrade to Windows 11," you would think.
Well, part of this has to do with the difference in the BIOS of the two machines. Okay. So now, like I say, give it a shot and see where you're at. I mean,
yeah,
you're gonna buy a new one anyway. So one way or another, you're either gonna have to transfer, or you may get lucky by swiping out the hard drives.
Yeah, transferring data is no problem really.
Right.
For me, but it's just those 5 million programs that
I get it.
Who the hell knows if we can
Well,
reinstall
the other issue you might run in is that how compatible is that program with Windows 11? So that's another problem that you run in, that that particular program may not run, or that version may not run.
Yeah, I don't think I would run into that problem, but yeah, that's a consideration. But that'd be so minimal concerning all the other programs I would have to reinstall, which there's no way in hell I would probably be able to do it. I'd probably lose them. So I'll give it a shot eventually.
Right.
Thank you.
Let us know what happens.
Okay,
Ken,
thanks.
Your question.
Hello. I have a desktop. It's a Dell 5400 Inspiron, and there's no tower anymore. It's only the hard drive is a strip 1.5 inches high by 19 inches long, just below the monitor, and it's great. I love it.
Wow.
Okay.
Bob Francis is our last question.
Two things. One, talking about processors and buying cheap and when you should buy or not buy. You go on QVC or HSN, Pentium dual core processors, people are buying them like hotcakes. I don't know why, but they are. So I would never buy from there, first of all.
No.
Secondly, somebody was asking about when you should buy a new 11. If you're going to go to 11 anyway, right now is the best time. Because what's going to happen is you're going to get some really good Black Friday deals, no two ways about it. Same with Christmas. But what's going to happen after January with AI computers, they're going to go $1,000 more than now. So if you wait till next November, you're going to pay $1,000 more for a computer because it's going to come with AI and you got to pay for it. If you don't need AI or any other stuff, buy it now. Black Friday, there was one here at BJ's, i7, I forget what the hard drive and all was, but it's an i7 computer, $399 for a nice laptop. Laptops are great for seniors because you're not carrying a desktop into a shop. I go around here to fix desktops, but people don't want to do that. They unplug something and forget where to plug it back in. So you're better off getting a decent laptop, and if it needs to have something done to it, take it to it. You can pick it up and take it to the shop to have it fixed, which I find is great. Although I have both. I have 3 laptops and one all-in-one, and they're all i7s, and they work fantastic. But that's just my 2 cents.
Appreciate it.
Hey, Rob, thank you very much for doing your presentation.
Sure.
Your internet held up. May it hold up for your next presentation.
You betcha.
Whatever it is.
Well, no, it's the same thing here in about an hour and a half.
Okay,
We'll
good.
talk to you later.
Bye-bye.